Hello and welcome back everyone to the next episode on SAP DataSphere training come data warehouse training with me Anubhav. In our last episode we talked about the concept of working with the catalog, and also we discussed about working with the data integration flow, and also we have seen the concept of working with the our consumption model and perspectives. In our today's session we will learn about the concept of BW integration with DataSphere, the so-called hybrid integration, and also the BW bridge. This will be the last episode of this journey, this entire training. By far in this training, we have learned the complete concept and architecture of DataSphere. We have got an overview of the system and how to set up your free tier account and free trial account with experience. We discussed about the connectivity options and the available connections, and then we discuss complete data layer with tables, graphical views, SQL views, integration monitor, data flows, data replication flows, also the task chains, and we have learned about intelligent lookup, the complete data layer, and also the business layer. We also discussed about catalog, content, also the user authorization in terms of the roles provided by SAP for SAP DataSphere. We've also learned about the integrations with DataSphere providing the data to SAP Analytics Cloud. You have seen the concepts of aggregations, unions, joins, conversions, currency conversions, time dimensions, and a whole lot of things, and including finally the business layer where we created facts, dimensions, and consumptions along with the perspectives. Now, before we move on, there is one more topic asked by you. Unfortunately, I do not have a license, hence I cannot show that topic live in action, but I'll give you the guidance material for the same. And the topic was related to Anubhav. Can we integrate DataSphere with Excel? Is it possible or not? So you can do that if you want to do the Excel integration with SAP DataSphere. We have a tutorial provided by SAP for the Excel integration. Let me show you the link of the tutorial, how to connect Microsoft Excel with the DataSphere. So you need to install the ODBC Data Source Administrator, install HANA ODBC driver, and also create a database user. These are the three prerequisites. All three are other three tutorials. You need to go through them one by one to install these tools in your machine, and then also do some administration activity to allow your computer IP address to be connected with the DataSphere. This will require a real productive account, and only then the integration is possible. Since we do not have a real productive account at the moment, we cannot do so. Hence, I will provide you this guiding tutorial to all of you to be able to pass through, and then just follow this tutorial to achieve the required Excel integration. Having said that, let's move on now to our next topic, which is related to SAP BW integration, the most asked topic. In fact, in the last class also, some of you asked me, Anubhav, at least show us one example of integrating my BW system with the DataSphere, where I can fetch the existing BECs or existing DSOs or data providers to pull the data in BW system. So that's exactly what we see in today's episode now. So you will learn about the basics of BW, hybrid, the integration option with DataSphere, and we will also learn how to do the analysis related to the authorization from BW HANA, and that can be leveraged to as a remote authorization into DataSphere. So what happens is we will be discussing about how can we utilize the concept of SAP BW in our from our SAP existing SAP BW system artifacts in SAP DataSphere. So as you all aware that many customers are already running on SAP BW on HANA or BW for HANA, and they are about to migrate to BW for HANA. Many customers also prefer the combination of classic BW together with DataSphere. So that is where we call it as hybrid approach. Hybrid means half cloud and half on premise. So you would want to run your existing BW, and then you want to innovate wherever possible with DataSphere. Actually, as of now, as we speak 2023, 2024, I see majority of the customers are in hybrid mode because they are not directly using the BW. So they are in the hybrid mode. So this is the concept of hybrid implementation. Here we speak about BW hybrid with our BW for HANA model transfer. We offer an easy integration option into DataSphere. Existing data model from BW for HANA can be easily reused in SAP DataSphere, and completely new use case can be defined on top of that as well. Let's go more into detail. As I've already mentioned with BW for HANA, SAP offer integration option for existing data model as well as for queries. On the left hand side, you can see the BW on-premise system. So this is the broad architecture diagram I wanted to show you how the exchange of data will happen between BW for HANA and SAP DataSphere. So on the left, you can see BW for HANA on-premise system where you can easily leverage your existing data flow with advanced data store object, composite providers, as well as queries from BW HANA into DataSphere. If you use BW model transfer or model transfer connection, there were different artifacts automatically created into DataSphere inside the data builder. So in your data layer, basically system will automatically create these different artifacts in the BW system. Yeah, that is what system does, and this approach is called model transfer. So automatically these objects will be created inside the data builder. For example, a remote table based on an info provider as well as an analytical data set and a dimension based on the mapped info objects are created. You can see a query is transformed into a analytic data set, or a composite provider from BW is transformed into a remote table. Yes, these objects gets created in DataSphere automatically. However, you also have the ABAP code in BW system, right? Some custom extensions, body and something you've written that remains as it is in the BW. Yes, that remains as it is in the BW system. So this is how exactly the replication happens. On top of that, new analytical model is defined and can be used for reporting purpose. Business builder artifacts are optional and can be created during the model import. So you can see here the database is HANA, the on-premise with ABAP programming language. But on the right hand side, we have databases HANA Cloud with business and data layer, which you learned in this training. So finally, some artifacts, they are reused, just like you saw in last class, we use CDS views and then we consume the CDS views directly in DataSphere, and then on top of it you have anyway the reporting layer using SAP Analytics Cloud. So this is all in all the broad overview of how the integration will happen between these two systems. So what I will show you now in the demo is that I have a BW system and I will be utilizing my BW system to basically first show you by going into the BW system itself and then explain you the existing existing DSO or existing characteristics as well as composite provider which I've created in BW, and then leverage that object into SAP DataSphere. So we will just jump start into the demo. So what I will do is I will start with the Eclipse tool. So this is the Eclipse tool. Unfortunately, I don't have a possibility to increase the resolution here, but at least you will get a broad idea about how exactly it can be done. So as we all, though some of you come from BW for HANA background already, you know that the Eclipse is the preferred tool both for S4 HANA and for BW for HANA for doing new development. If you do not have an idea on BW for HANA, I would recommend another training available in video mode on Anubhav trainings to take, where you will learn BW for HANA. So that's a separate training. But here focus is how do you reuse the BW for HANA artifacts into the SAP DataSphere. So inside the BW for HANA, we have some data flows as before. That means we have two advanced data store object, sales order item and sales order. So what I will try to demonstrate here is I've connected to a system, and you will see that I will have the different artifacts over here in my BW system. In the Eclipse tool, I have connected to my BW system. So I have sales order item, and this is the sales order I have. And below, of course, we have some characteristics like business partner, country, and we also have sales organization. So quickly open the sales organization. So this is the authorization relevant object. You can see the sales organization authorization relevant is set. And on top of that, we have created a composite provider called ZPM CP sales. Let's quickly jump into this scenario. There we have a simple join between sales order and sales order item. Let me open that. You can see there is a join, and inside of the output structure we have mapping with the product and the sales organization, stuff like that. So you can see all the dimensions have been mapped. And then on top of this composite provider, we created a query. Inside the query, we have sheet definition with different kind of key figure. So the net amount and the quantity. So let me jump into that. You see expand key figure. I will have net amount and quantity as my measure. And we've also added a simple filter variable for authorization. So we have as authorization based on sales organization. So why do we need authorization? Based on this query, basically, I don't want people to access all my data from my BW. I want to control the data flow out of my BW system based on a authorization. So what do you do in BW? You create authorization object, and then you create a role, and then you also decide what are the values you want to give an access. So in this, I'm exposing all my sales data out. I don't want people to access all the sales data. Suppose I want to only allow people who access this query and info object, they only should be able to access the data related to sales organization EMEA. Yes, EMEA, Europe, Middle East, Africa. EMEA, I want to allow. So we will basically create a authorization object, a authorization profile, and we will also create a authorization role. Along with that, I will also create a user. Why do I need to create a user? So basically, if you use your developer user have lot of authorization. It has perhaps full authorization to talk to BW, and as a developer you have full permission and you can access any object. But we don't want to do that. We don't want to compromise that security. So never use your own developer user when you're connecting with DataSphere. You should use you should create a brand new user in SAP in SU01, and that user should be given only the required permission and authorization to be able to read the controlled data, and that user have only particular authorization, and that is the user you should use in your connection with SAP DataSphere, so that the only permitted data will be allowed to be accessed. So what I will do is I will now show you the user which I have created. The name of the user I have created in backend is the auth demo user. So what I will do is we have created a auth demo user and assign different role and analysis authorization also to that user. So let me show you SU01. This is the auth user, and we've created for analysis authorization. And what I will do is, especially for this use case, I've created an analysis authorization called ZBI demo. So let's jump start where you can see we have our different activities and key figure authorization. So I go to this T code, enter ZBI demo, and you see we have different authorization here related to key figures. So we have sales organization with info object inside, and there we have restriction for the EMEA. You can see I equal to EMEA. So now I go back to PFCG T code where we have defined a new role. So let me go to PFCG. PFCG, and then I'll show you the role. So I created a Z PMR EMO TE auth. This is the role I've created. And inside this authorization, for example, inside this role, you can see that we have assigned our analysis authorization over here. All these are BW concepts. So they are all prepared already by me. So if you go inside the authorization profile for this, you will see that I have all the authorization profile, and this is the authorization ID. So that I have added as part of my role to control the data flow out of my system. And I go to SU01 and I show you that this role is granted to my auth demo user. So when I go to roles, you see here I have granted the role. Let's also quickly check this one. You can see the assignment, and of course you can also check the if this authorization works or not. So we can test this authorization, which means we can execute our query with the same user. And then when I execute the RSRTT code with the same user, you will see that I should only get the sales organization data related to EMEA, which is assigned to this user. So you can see when I go inside, only the data related to EMEA is coming out. You see, only EMEA. When I see total sales by sales org, only EMEA is coming. So what's the next step? It is necessary to fill our parameter table, or let's say the data access control table for DataSphere. And therefore we have also created it. SAP also offer a transaction code for generation of the authorization table itself. We have an option to simply select the BW user and info provider we like to restrict. That means we can include queries used in DataSphere. We are now going to replicate this authorization, and this takes a few seconds, but we already created a table itself and check the entry is generated or not. So let me go and show the authorization table. Remember the DAC control I have taught you in the previous episode. So I would like to see that this is the table. You can see it's a standard table provided by SAP. And if I put my auth demo user, you will see here the generated authorization entry. So we can see that the object name and the user identifier is auth demo. So this is the user which we met inside the DataSphere, and also the example to find the restriction based on the sales organization in the EMEA region. So this is the entry which you can see over here, which is clearly telling that based on this authorization entry, we will have the permission controlled in the system. So that is how exactly all the stuff is designed in our BW system first of all. So what are the different things which we saw? I will just quickly summarize so that you will also know the flow of this entire diagram. Yeah, that's what we will be doing. So let's understand the concept of remote authorization. So let's introduce the another nice feature regarding the BW hybrid integration, so-called remote authorization. Many customers spend lot of effort in authorization concept in various source system. Of course, customer want to reuse their existing concepts and leverage authorization easily from BW for HANA to SAP DataSphere. Remote authorization significantly reduces this effort and implementing low level security. So let me explain you the high level flow. What exactly what I have done in our BW system as per the demo which I showed you. So in our BW for HANA system, we have implemented a simple transaction to leverage existing authorization. You can easily have an option to define scope of user and info provider, which authorization to be transferred into the permission table. So you can see SAP have done the step number one, leverage existing authorization in BW for HANA. So leave BW for HANA authorization untouched. Execute this T code called RSDWC DEC RSEC gen. So it will generate an entry. So it will create an entry automatically in a table provided by SAP. So you select the user and the object. which you want to control the authorization. So that will create an entry. So in the past session, when I showed you the data access control unit, there was a table, and in that table we made an entry about the email ID and what permissions we want to give. That same entry we will first maintain in BW for HANA, and this entry gets created in the permission table in BW for HANA system. So in the next step, you see there is a permission table provided by SAP in which an entry gets created over here for our user, authorization value, and info provider based on the existing permissions which you have set. So in the past, maybe already you have info provider and a analytic authorization, and based on all this information, an entry gets created in this authorization table. So what happens? The relevant information for each analysis authorization is then persisted in a persistence table where you can find the user data, authorization value, as well as the info provider information. So this is the activity you have to carry out in the BW system first of all. And then what happens? You can then use remote authorization wizard to generate data access control in the data sphere. So DataSphere has this data access control concept. If you've forgotten that, kindly check the previous class video where I covered this topic. So then what happens? A DAC gets created automatically when you do the hybrid mode execution. A DAC gets created automatically, and this DAC of course will have the entry which is created in your BW system gets transferred to the DataSphere. So that way the authorization will be reused, and the generated data access control are automatically assigned to the selected view of the info provider to be protected. So what happens? That DAC gets created and that DAC gets assigned to the generated view in the SAP data sphere. The protected views can be also shared to other spaces. That means that means the new use case can be built on top of that. So remote authorizations are available starting BW. Remote authorizations are available starting BW 2.0. So just this is the flow. So what is remote authorization? They are available starting 2.0 and must be connected via SAP ABAP or BW connection. Remote tables imported from BW for HANA model transfer connection cannot be protected using the wizard of remote authorization. Only analysis authorization apply to characteristics used in info provider. That means advanced data store objects and composite providers can be imported in the data sphere. No authorization defined on queries as an info provider or navigational attributes are supported without the further ADO. So now let's go ahead and let's jump start into the demo so that we can see what happens after importing this remote authorization to the data sphere. So far I showed you the activities which we carry out when it comes to working with the BW system. So what I will do is now I will jump start into the data sphere system, and then I'll go to my space to show you into my space the data access control actually. So what I will do is I will just go ahead now back to my data sphere, and I will go to the data access control tab in my data sphere, and here we will have an option to import permission. So let me go to my space, and you see I say import permission on the left hand side. So import permission from BW for HANA is possible with a simple BW or ABAP connection as well as a BW for HANA model transfer connection. And we are talking the last one and clicking on the next. And then on the next step, we are getting some information. And afterward, we have to select our table, which should be protected. In this case, our sales order composite provider needs to be protected. And on top of that, automatically, we are creating inside of remote permission, import different kinds of views. So first of course, the base view and the regular sales order view. This is what exactly based on the remote table, where also the restriction is later inside. And especially for the permission, we are creating permission script. So these are the existing views which will be fetched from our BW system along with the permission. And you see, this is the data access control for remote table access. I click on import and deploy. So actually it takes a lot of time to bring in this information of your objects, info providers and permissions. I've already prepared the result of this, which I can show you quickly in the system. So now we can check directly here. For example, if you see now our data access control based on the sales order and an identifier column, which we have our user identifier. As I've already mentioned, inside of data builder, SAP automatically created the view based on the sales order. You can already see the base view sales order and the data view where authorization is in and our permission script. So we can quickly check this out. Now we can start use of our imported remote authorization inside our data model. So you see, this is the permission script which was also created. So this is exactly, you can start using your objects directly in the system. So this is the hybrid integration where you import the existing permission entry which is created in standard SAP table and fetched into datasphere, and also your existing info provider and artifacts in the datasphere. So this is how exactly the integration in hybrid mode works. Yes, in hybrid mode works. So there are a couple of questions coming. I want to connect SAP Datasphere on guided experience. Facing an issue, please help me. So that will do it towards the end of the class. Yes. Next, isn't that part of SAP GRC or security team? Why should the SAP Datasphere development team look into it? So guys, this is a integration flow where you are using SAP BW for HANA integration with SAP Datasphere. In this case, you as a developer only responsible for fetching all the security as well as your existing DSOs, info provider and query objects in Datasphere. So when you fetch that, you also responsible for security. So my job as a trainer is to show you the end-to-end flow. You can think in your company what's a model you work. In some companies, all the security tasks done by basis, not by you or a GRC consultant. So if you're working in big companies, then there are different people to do this work. Maybe you are not the only one to carry out all the activities. So depends on different role. As a as a trainer, it is my duty to show you both the options, that where you can do all these activities also by yourself, or if you have a big team, let them do. So I am just showing you what is possible, but again you decide who will do this activity in your company. Yeah, I need your help connecting SAC and data warehouse. Oh, that anyway we will see towards the end, but mostly all the authorization will be done in BW query level in BW for HANA, right? How will datasphere handle in data in there? So basically what I'm trying to explain is, in the system you already have objects which you created in the past. So let me just draw it, make it more easy for you. So you have a BW for HANA system. Now this is, let's say, implemented 5 years ago in my company. It's been 5 years. Yes, there are hundreds of consultants working here. These are BW experts. Like some of you are already BW experts, and in this you created the characteristics, you created the data source objects, you created the info providers, and you created the back queries. And then you have also created the analytical permissions, BI permissions on top of info provider. This is existing investment of your company, right? Existing in investment in terms of how much time you spend and how much money you spend. So maybe let's say $10 million of investment of last 10 years or 5 years. Okay. Now, will you throw this away? Will any company ready to throw this away? Of course not, right? So they want to now use this info provider. But if you just get the info provider, in SAP DataSphere, what will happen? Info provider have come as a, let's say, it has come as a consumption model in the business layer. And now on top of it, you are doing the SAP Analytics Cloud. But the problem is, in your SAP system, in your BW system, there is already security regarding this. People are telling that in this info provider, I have sales org. Already your company have put in the effort to create an analytic permission where they have a rule called sales org is equal to EMEA. This is already in there. Now, by fetching just the info provider as a consumption model in DataSphere, you lost this security. This is a very important security. When you just get this object, and if you don't get this security, people can access all the data of all the sales organization, which is a breach of security. So what do? We need somehow to control the same permission in DataSphere. But in DataSphere, how permissions are controlled? Which I taught you in previous class using data access control, right? So there are now option number one for you. You as a DataSphere consultant manually create this DAC. But think about, this is just one permission object. There can be thousands of permission objects which were built in the last 5 years. So will you create 1000 DAC yourself for every info provider which you get in DataSphere? Manually? Of course not. So what SAP says? SAP says, I give you a T code, run that T code which will create an entry in a standard SAP table for this permission. That is called permission script. So what SAP does, when you run the T code, you tell your authorization user and tell your info provider object name. It creates an entry here in a table, in a database table. Based on this entry, a DAC can automatically create. So what I did in my demo, first I ran that T code. I gave my user, I gave my info provider name. System created an entry in a standard SAP table in BW. And then when I did the import, when we go to DataSphere and we imported the authorization, system imported my existing info provider or a query, plus system also imported this entry. And with this entry, system created a DAC, data access control. And it also associated this imported consumption object with the DAC. So what happens is, when you run this object now in DataSphere, it gives you same output what you were getting in BW. So if in BW, if you use transaction RSRT, you were seeing only the data related to EMEA. When you run this consumption model, which is eventually hitting your BW system behind the scene, it will also show you only the data relevant for EMEA. So we are not just replicating our object, but we are also replicating the permission related to that object and creating a DAC in the DataSphere. This is what is happening. For this entire flow, I have explained you. As a trainer, it is my duty to show you the complete flow. Yes. Now you say, Anubhav, in my company, this is not done by me. This is done by GRC consultant. Okay, I don't have any problem. Let the GRC consultant do this work. I don't have any problem. Let's say I just want to do this work. No problem. It's up to you. It depends on company to company. But as a trainer, what Anubhav is doing, he is teaching everything to you. So you know the concept. You know what are the activities you need to do. And then I give a demo in the system. This is what the goal was of by far in this lecture. I hope, am I making clear or not? Yes. Now
Anubhav,
there's one more
while
question.
using
Some
the
auth, so everything, some auth variables or whatever you have in your existing BW for HANA system, it will automatically replicate to the DataSphere if possible. There are limitations which you need to read in the documentation. So where do you find documentation? So you have to go and just simply Google SAP BW for HANA DataSphere hybrid integration. When you do that, you see blogs.sap.com point one, but you will also see the help.sap.com documentation. There are also learning journeys provided by SAP for learning purpose, and you can just say help.sap, and you see help.sap.com. Yes. If you go inside, this is showing BW breach actually. This one is showing BW breach. If I go to DataSphere, you can see here we have SAP DataSphere, and we have getting started guide, simple data, business content, data governance, administration, accessing DataSphere via command line, security recommendation, BW breach. So DataSphere, BW breach. So BW breach is a separate concept which I'll show you now. But if I just say hybrid BW, yes, here it is. You see, this is the documentation. Supported source version of BW model transfer connections. So these are the notes you need to read to find out what is possible and what is not possible. Yes, these are the notes provided by SAP for the BW model transfer connection. This is required in case you are running your SAP system in hybrid mode, means some part you are using in BW. Let's say 80% you are using BW, only for required 20% scenario you are using SAP DataSphere. Okay, only for 20% scenario you want to use DataSphere, so you don't want to directly remove your BW system completely. You still want to continue to use BW, and this is what majority of the companies today doing, guys. 80% companies, they are using DataSphere in hybrid mode. They don't throw away their existing BW permanently. They are actually doing it together. So in this case, we need to transfer. Yeah, we need to transfer. Okay. Now, any other question by far in this hybrid model of running DataSphere with BW? Any questions so far?
Anubhav,
Yes,
can
please.
you hear me?
I can hear
Okay,
you, sir.
so yeah, Anubhav, while you are using the T code, where you are giving the authorization user and the info provider,
Yes,
so
sir.
that info provider is the ADSO, or you are giving the composite provider name to generate the canonical permission.
I'm using the composite provider name.
Okay, so let's say this integration process, what you show in the architecture, composite provider is converting to the remote table, all right, during the
Yes.
integration process.
Yes.
And Bex query is converting to the analytical model, or it's converting to the analytical data set
It is converting to analytical model.
model. Okay, so directly from analytical model, we can
Yes.
use it in
And
SAC,
time to
right?
time, as DataSphere is evolving, SAP might change the object type. Yeah. So what happened is last year when I did for one customer, it was converting to a consumption model. But this year, when I did the same integration again with BW, SAP is saying that they are getting rid of the consumption model slowly. And now they are using the SAP analytical model. So when I did this time for one of the another customer, it converted to analytical model. Now, by the way, I am not a very big expert on SAP BW, guys, but at least I know integration part. There is a separate team in my company which is doing BW for HANA. They are expert in that. But for me also, it is no need to be an expert on that. One person cannot be expert on everything. But at least you should know the concept. And the concept is very clear that you can run BW and DataSphere in a hybrid mode. You can bring in the existing assets which you built in the company in BW for HANA, including the security permissions. And here they will get converted to the respective DataSphere object, either a remote table or a analytical model or a consumption model with perspective, and ultimately the goal is to be used in the analytic cloud. Plus any permission, any role analytic privilege is converted here into a deck with that table entry.
So is there any possibility ADS is also converted to remote table like composite
I
provider?
think yes, but you have to try. I never tried it. Majorly I worked with info provider and queries.
Anubhav, you showed us one slide where it was telling that the query BW query level authorizations will not be replicated. So And you showed us a demo that the composite provider or the info provider level, the authorizations are all replicated in DAC. So how about if we have authorization variables, for example, HR or a company code level at the BW BEX query level? So those will not be replicated in DataSphere,
They will be
or can
replicated
we?
as a deck, but there are limitations. So you have to read the documentation, what is possible and what is not. So you see limitation. Remote table imported from BW for HANA model transfer connection cannot be protected using the wizard for remote authorization. So if you have any wizard for remote authorization, that cannot be done. Only analysis authorization applied to the characteristics used in info provider. So only analysis authorizations are applied. Composite provider can be imported, not authorization defined on queries as the info provider or navigational attributes. So you can always
Yeah,
wrap
but
up the
most of my,
limitations first.
yeah, in my company, where the most of the authorizations are done at a company code level, profit center, and HR
That is the
employee,
attribute
that
you're
all.
talking about. I'm talking at an object level. Yes. So whether it is done at company code, profit center, cost center, that's fine. That's an attribute of the authorization. But when you talk about the object is actual object which we are using is
Oh,
this
query level. Okay,
analysis object, analysis permission. You see, analysis
on a
authorization,
query.
which I showed you in T code.
Okay.
So
So
maybe
any
I will request you
authorizations
to go
done at a query level
notes.
will not be done, right?
Yes, you
Okay.
can just
At
go through
any
these
attribute
notes.
level or attribute or what is info object level, those are all can be replicated.
Can you please repeat your question, sir?
So any authorizations done at a query level cannot be done, whereas any authorizations on info object level or attribute level will be all replicated in DAC.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Yeah, that should be fine.
In
Thank
that
you.
case, it could be one and the same, right? Analysis operation we create for a info object, right? So that while we in the BEX we are creating a variable analysis like characteristic on value authorization, but that is always still pointing to analysis authorization, right? So in
Yes.
that case, possibilities it might work, right?
Can you please repeat the last part?
No, yeah, see, while we create a analysis authorization in the BIX query, we have a multiple ways of creating a authorization, right? So we have one option as characteristic variable with value authorization. So that value authorization, or anyway, it's pointing to analysis authorization. As a admin, you will create analysis authorization, restrict, let's say in this case, you restricted email. So that analysis authorization anyway is used in the rules, wherever the rules you have used it. So definitely in that case, this also will work. I mean, the query restricted with analysis authorization also will work, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yes, sir, it will work. You have to try it out based on the demo.
And the URL looks different for DWC. I could see that it's not a guided experience URL, right? What you showed.
Which URL?
I mean, the integration part, what you did, the hybrid integration part, the URL of the data sphere, I mean to say. It
So
shows
that is my
DWC.
yes. So DWC is the old name of DataSphere. It's just the old name. So URL could be
So,
depending on the company subscription you have purchased.
so this anyway we cannot do with the guided experience, right? We cannot convert. So if we have some
Yes,
BW
that's
code,
why.
then
Yeah, that's why I used my company system today to demonstrate all this. In the guided experience, I think everything will not be possible. It's a trial.
Anubhav, have we, I mean, I've not seen yesterday, I missed. So, yeah, have we covered that replicating BW query in DataSphere to use that as an analytical model, which will be converted, the top layer, not the info provider, BEX query level, can we replicate to DataSphere?
Yeah, that also we can do, sir. So for that, you need to refer these notes which I was telling you. You need to refer those notes, and you, with the help of that, you will be able to. So last class, if you remember, I've used the CDS view. Same you can also use. Directly go to your DataSphere account. Let me try to see if
Hmm.
that, somehow I can connect my BW for HANA. So I have a BW for HANA system here. At least we can
Okay.
connect, but some things may not work. So I have a BW for HANA system. You can see here. This is my BW for HANA. Let me try to connect that with the DataSphere. So I copy this. I go there to the. So it will be same process what we followed for CDS view. The process won't change. So I go to connections. I will add my BW system. ABAP. Let me just see if I can directly also see the BW option. You see, live connection tunnel is not available. So the experience account I can't connect, guys. As I told you, the prerequisites. Let me try is a normal ABAP connection. So model transfer is a separate connection which has different prerequisites. But at least as a ABAP connection, let me try to connect if it's possible to show you creating one query. So usually we use the another type of connection to create a BW connectivity so that we can do the model import. So when you see here, there is a separate connection called BW model transfer. You can also see that this allows the model import. This is what I demoed today because I'm using BW model import connection actually. Yeah. And in the experience account, I can't do this. So I use the demo from my company system, but unfortunately I cannot show everything here because that is a very protected, very private, my own company system. So somehow I managed to just only record the parts which I can demo to you, not the private parts of the company laptop or company system. Yes. So I just created it as a normal ABAP connection, and then you can usually go back to data builder, and then you can import any existing objects. So import any remote table, and of course you use BW for HANA. You see unable to connect. So these are the issue. Something is happening. It's unable to contact that system. Name password is incorrect.
Once we connect, we can see that as a remote table and then
Yes,
use the name as Bex query name as remote table. Is it?
exactly. I
Okay.
think I think they've stopped my user. It was a demo I was just using. Let me just see if still I can. So you can also see the capability this connection can actually do. So you can just select here and you can say validate. So its system will tell us what are the different options it can offer. So data flow, replication flow, and remote table. All three things it supports this connection. Currently it's not working the connection. Yeah. So there are, of course, I cannot show everything in the experience account, but at least I showed you with my company demo, which I have recorded for all of you, how this can be achieved. But usually the with the BW system, you will use the connection type as model import connection type, which require further configuration as demonstrated on the documentation. Is a prerequisite I've showed you when you go there. I showed you the prerequisites. You need to follow all of those prerequisites to achieve the connectivity. Yeah. So you need to follow all those prerequisites actually to achieve the connectivity. You see here, these are the prerequisites, and of course follow the documentation and notes. So BW always connected via model transfer option, and here you can do model import. So your existing bags, TSO, info provider, all can be used, but as a different object they get imported in a data sphere. Not always remote table,
Okay.
but as a different object type, and it depends on version to version also. So you have to check yourself once you create this connection.
So even if we get a license from the test demo, we can't try that with
We
connecting
can
your
try, but we
system.
should have to have a BW for HANA system also, and the right side, the real system with all the connectivity has to be configured. So you see the connectivity requirement for model import is way beyond the one which we used so far. It requires, you see, it requires a live data connection tunnel that needs to be configured. SQL access needs to be configured. HANA security needs to be configured. HANA credential needs to be added. Lot of these things needs to be configured and added. Only then you can do this connection. I don't have any of these things right now. Yeah, because my basis
Okay.
team have not yet done it. But in my company, my basis team have done that. So that is why I was able to show the demo for my company system replication of an info provider to the datasphere along with permission.
Okay. So we can't do anything similar like a Bex query in DataSphere. In case only thing is we can do whatever it was done at the composite provider level. We can create a SAC query on top of it, whatever is possible. Other than like we can't exactly replicate what can be done in a
No,
Bex in
exactly you
DataSphere.
cannot. Exactly you cannot, because exact objects are not present in. See, DataSphere is a completely new system. So
New
there is
system.
no concept called info provider in DataSphere or no concept called Bex query in DataSphere. But there are equivalent objects like consumption model, analytic model, fact model, dimension model, dimension business entity. Yes, what you learned in this training. So option one, let's say you completely build everything from scratch in datasphere according to datasphere terminology by first
Yeah.
creating your tables in datasphere, moving data to datasphere, then on top build everything what you learn in the training. But if you want to leverage existing assets, then you have to go model import option, which create an equivalent object in datasphere, because datasphere doesn't know what is info provider. That's a BW on premise term.
Yeah.
Yes.
And authorization variables and all can be replicated in data space security,
Deck.
whatever that
Yes. Yes.
that. Mm.
As a parameter it
Okay.
will create. So you can pass the
Okay.
runtime value. So this is one type of integration called hybrid way of running your datasphere and BW system together, which is basically using a model import connection. So we'll take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we will then start with BW bridge integration, where you want to completely come out of BW then. What will be the strategy? So you can run a BW bridge. Yes. So you saw in the model import connection, your existing ABAP code doesn't move to cloud. It remains still in BW. So if you've written any kind of ABAP code custom implementation in BW, it remains as it is in the BW only. Only the allowed objects will get replicated. But in case of BW Bridge, SAP uses something called embedded steampunk. It's basically ABAP on cloud. So there, all the ABAP code replicates to the BW Bridge, which is basically a cloud solution where it uses embedded steampunk or so-called ABAP on cloud to also run your ABAP code on the cloud, which we'll see the after the break, the BW bridge connection. Again, I cannot show everything in a live system. I have to give you the pre-recorded demo which I've created in my company and show you that to give you perspective. Because somebody asked me this, I unfortunately I don't have infrastructure, guys, or the real system, and no company will allow me to use their systems. But somehow it is without compromising integrity of my company. I've got you the video. I've got you the demo, which I can at least demonstrate to give you an idea. Yeah. So let's take a break here and we will join back after a short break. All right. So welcome back after the quick break. And now let's begin the second type of integration, which is through the BW bridge. So let's understand what is BW bridge first of all. BW bridge and the integration into DataSphere. So now we will learn about the basics of BW bridge, the integration option into DataSphere core, and how a modern architecture with BW bridge and DataSphere can look together. So let's understand what is BW bridge and its definition first of all. So BW bridge is a feature on DataSphere that provide an easy path for BW as well as BW for HANA customer to the public cloud. SAP offer a proven SAP based integration like from BW with extractors. You can use SAP's well established business content which has been developed over last 20 to 25 years. In SAP BW Bridge, you can have an enterprise ready staging layer to manage data loading, partitioning, monitoring, and error handling like before. That means most well-known modeling artifacts from SAP BW for HANA like info objects, advanced data store objects, and composite providers are available in BW Bridge. Also, we are on the same code line as BW for HANA. As I've already explained, BW Bridge, SAP offer an easy path to public cloud world. And of course, there is a tool support move with shell or remote conversion. That is what system offers. So what are the key features and value propositions? Leverage your existing BW data structure, ABAP transformation, customizations, and of course, secure existing skills and bring them together with SAP's public cloud offering. Connect with confidence, with that means integrate SAP Business Suite data via SAP ODP and use all the semantic richness of SAP's extractors. Empower our business to rapidly innovate BW data with an open, unified data and analytical cloud service. SAP DataSphere is SAP's semantic layer to combine data from several sources and layers. With this regard, SAP don't overrun OLAP engine in BW Bridge, and the regular BW query is completely moved into SAP DataSphere. With SAP DataSphere, we have two different options to use and secure previous investments. The first one is of course the combination of BW for HANA. That means you can rescue your BW for HANA metadata in SAP DataSphere and use SAP's BW for HANA model conversion by moving existing data model into DataSphere, and your data stays in your regular on-premise system in the BW for HANA world. That also gives you an option to have the best out of two worlds, which means BW for HANA with the regular OLAP engine and DataSphere capability. I already showed that in the previous section. The second one, however, here is the complete public cloud strategy. In this case, you will throw away later on your BW system permanently. And the goal is to decommit your old BW system and reuse existing investment with SAP's public cloud offering. So on the left hand side, we have our SAP's DataSphere core component. Yes, so you can clearly see in this diagram now the broad level architecture for BW Bridge. It is more complex as compared to the model import option. So what you see on the left hand side with all the public cloud capabilities, the SAP DataSphere, which we learned over the past few weeks in this training. And on the right hand side, we see BW Bridge, SAP BW Bridge capability. We have our SAP BW Bridge based on ABAP Steampunk. I'm not sure if you heard about Steampunk. It's basically ABAP on cloud. There is a separate training, Anubhav training offers on ABAP on cloud. In case you are interested, you can join that training where you will learn how can you leverage the ABAP on cloud environment to run your ABAP code on the BTP, on the public cloud. So this offering is based out of Steampunk or ABAP on cloud. Steampunk is a code name of ABAP on cloud. So where SAP offers same look and feel as a BW for HANA system, in the Steampunk or in this BW for HANA BW Bridge system, you can use existing extractors. You can build transformation. You can build advanced data objects and data sources. You can also create composite providers. Yes. And query metadata, which is also possible, but it is invisible. So this is what is like a ABAP based system on the cloud, but with the very similar capabilities. As you can see on the slide, migrated queries are invisible. Yes, they are invisible. And those ones needed to be imported in your BW Bridge space in DataSphere core. This one is automatically provided from SAP side inside of the space management. So what you will get is you will get a service key where you can easily connect your BW modeling tools via Eclipse. Administration topics are also handled like before in UI5 Web Cockpit. So you can still do the administration using a web-based UI provided by SAP to the BW Bridge on top of it. So if you go one step level deeper, let me just go back. If we go one step deeper, our use case is to decommit our old BW system up to BW for HANA 2021 and migrate all our existing investment to the BW Bridge. So in case your company says, I don't want to use BW at all, everything I want to bring it in the cloud, and later on I will cancel the license for BW, I will save money. So you can use the SAP BW Bridge. BW Bridge. It's a cloud-based solution provided by SAP, which is based out of Steampunk and allows the migration completely to the bridge and bring the reporting relevant artifact to the DataSphere core. On the left hand side, we see regular BW data model with the transformation logic and ABAP logic. And of course, customers want to reuse their existing logic into DataSphere. But you see the DataSphere doesn't have a place to run the ABAP code. Yes. Since DataSphere doesn't run ABAP code directly, we need a middle ground, and that middle ground is your bridge. Yes, that's exactly why SAP come up with the bridge concept, because your existing customer extensions with ABAP code, they can't run on DataSphere. DataSphere is not based on ABAP engine, so it can't run ABAP code. That's why we need a bridge between them. So this is where SAP come up with BW Bridge. So on the left hand side, we see regular data model with all the ABAP logic, and of course, the customer wants to reuse their existing logic in DataSphere. As I've already explained few minutes ago, we offer two types of migration option. The regular BW artifacts like info object, advanced data store object, composite provider are transferred via shell or remote conversion into BW Bridge. You see, they got transferred to the BW Bridge via shell or remote conversion to the BW Bridge. So that is one thing which happens, and complex transformation and ABAP logic are also migratable via ABAP Git. So join my ABAP on Cloud training to learn about ABAP Git and ABAP on Cloud in case you're interested. So there are separate learning journeys available there. Yes. Now starting last year November, SAP also offer an option to migrate existing OLAP queries into BW Bridge and run the metadata import in DataSphere to replace the OLAP world with new reporting engine called SAP MDS. Yes, SAP MDS is the new reporting engine which they offer. So this is how exactly you can see the broad architecture. If you want to decommission your BW in a longer run, you can use the BW bridge. Okay, we go to the take a deeper look. We see on the right hand side what kind of artifacts are created in the model conversion. So you see in DataSphere what will get created from BW bridge into DataSphere. So based on composite provider, SAP create a remote table in BW bridge space on your DataSphere tenant. So a composite provider gets converted to a remote table in DataSphere tenant. On top, the remote table data builder artifact will be created. Mandatory and optional, our business builder artifact. Based on info object, SAP create dimension in DataSphere, and new analytical model will reflect in our regular OLAP query from BW. This can be used for reporting level. Let's say we want to do the reporting in analytic cloud, that can be reused. So let's understand the conversion options. As I already mentioned, SAP offer two types of conversion option: the shell conversion as well as remote conversion from BW and BW for HANA to BW bridge. So I won't go too much deeper into the detail, but let me quickly explain the difference. So what is a shell conversion? A shell conversion is, in comparison to remote conversion, is quite simple. You just transfer all the metadata from the source to target system, and all the data needs to be loaded completely out of source system again. Inside a remote conversion, for example, you also transferring the data out of sender system. I think you can imagine the kind of conversion is bit more complex, but it is worth it where you transfer the data also out. So shell means it's an empty shell. If you've seen seashells, when you go to ocean, you see on the shore seashells, they are empty, they don't have anything inside, right? So it's a empty, it's just a metadata information which is moved. Data still resides in the existing system, but in a remote conversion the data also moves to the uh, to the to the BW bridge from BW system. So this is basically to slowly decommission your BW system in a longer run. Now, a provisioned SAP DataSphere, a BW bridge is needed in this case, but in this case, a provisioned DataSphere with BW bridge is also required. In both cases, BW bridge is required, shell or remote. The transfer cockpit can be used to transfer selected data model without the data into BW bridge tenant, where here the transfer cockpit can be used to transfer selected data model into BW bridge tenant and to perform remote data transfer into the tenant. It supports the carve out and system consolidation scenario. Here also it supports the carve out and consolidation scenario. Then here we have accelerating the greenfield approach by transferring and converting data model and flows. Here it transport data model and remote data transfer. Minimum start release here for this case for shell conversion is 7.30 and 7.50 of BW version with HANA or any DB or any system of BW for HANA about 2021. Whereas here also the same similar requirements for the version for your BW system or BW for HANA system. So shell versus the remote conversion. So this is the quick difference about shell. It's about the data. Where will your data be? Your data will move or not move. That is what you will see actually shell conversion or remote conversion. So what I will be doing, I will be jumping into a short demo of my company system where I've already configured a BW bridge. So once again, we will start uh, with a system demo, but again this is a demo which is created by my company system. So I'm into the remote desktop of my company laptop, my company system. Without compromising too much of integrity, I will show you this shell conversion from a BW for HANA 2021 release which I have in my company. So what is our sender? Of course our sender is BW for HANA 2021 release, which is acting as a source system here. And in this environment, we have created simple data flow. So what I will show you is first the data flow which I've created in this system. So I'm logging in to my BW system, and you can see I've created simple data flow based on two advanced data store object, sales order and sales order item. So I have some advanced data store object DSO in BW for HANA, which I'm using. and we've created a composite provider. So below, of course, we have used some of the master data from info object, which are mapped inside the composite provider. So let me jump into it. So in this scenario, for example, you can see there are, I'll just go inside. So there are something like a simple join between sales order and sales order item table. Besides of that, of course, we have also a direct association with the relevant info object. For example, product category, and also, of course, we do have the measures. So on top of composite provider, we've also created a query called sales reporting with currency. This is my BEX query. Inside of that sheet definition, for example, we have different kinds of key figures. So the net amount and the quantity, these are the key figures I will be using, which are invisible. And of course, we also have a selection or restricted or calculated key figure on top. That means current year net amount, previous year net amount, and for example, percentage deviation between net amount of current year and previous year. These are some of the calculated key figures I also have. And inside of that row, we have our product category and lot of free characteristics. And our goal is now to move the whole data flow here on the left hand side together with two advanced data store object and info object and composite provider, as well as the query to BW bridge, and run the model import to the datasphere. So we are easily logging into the backend system. So jump into the SAP logon and move to transaction code STC01, where we have an option to run a shell conversion, but we will start with a shell conversion and we will run a task list provided by SAP. So it's called BW for HANA Transfer Cloud Shell. In the first step, you will always necessary to collect the scope, and inside of a scope, we always start from the highest object. So in our case, of course, the highest object of this composite provider, we will quickly collect the composite provider and click on save. So I'll enter that in my task list. Second list step, it is necessary to define the scope a little bit more clearly. Under our composite provider, we have several info object. With regard to, of course, we also have to transfer all the entry layer. That means our advanced data store objects below. We like to convert, as we would like to also have mentioned before, our existing query sales reporting with currency. Easily click on select, and we have enabled this feature with BW 2022-11 version. Now it's necessary to assign a package. We are going to use the data challenge package and assign also to a transport request, and then we click on save and jump back to our task list. So let me assign a package. I will also provide the transport request number. And we jump back to the task list. I'll go ahead and execute the task list. You can see it got stuck, and you can see what is the issue. So when I open, you see there is also a body implementation, which means some custom ABAP code is there. So body elements as well as authorizations are checked. So we can jump over it and easily click on resolve. So then I further execute, and you can see we start the task list again. It got executed successfully, and I've got a message over here that the task list got finished successfully in the system. So this is how you will get a message ultimately, which will show you that your task list got executed successfully, which means now hopefully what would have happened, all the data flow and BW artifacts are transferred from my BW for HANA system to BW bridge. Yes. So what I will be doing next in my Eclipse environment, I also have to connect to the BW bridge. BW bridge is a cloud-based system. So what I will also do now as a next step, I'll show you connecting to my BW bridge in my Eclipse environment. So let's quickly jump back to the Eclipse, and we can quickly go here. You can see now The goal was to transfer the existing data flow together with my two advanced DSOs and info object as well as composite provider into the BW bridge. We can quickly get into the scenario and we really have same output structure together with all the associated field. But you can also see that the query on top of the composite provider is invisible, as I've already mentioned in BW bridge demo slides. We don't have OLAP engine, and now it is necessary to import the existing or converted query inside the data sphere. So we will now go to the data sphere. So you can see this is the composite provider which got replicated along with all my advanced DSOs and characteristics. They all have come to the BW bridge. So to do all the maintenance, you have to also connect BW bridge directly from your Eclipse system. Now I switch over back to my data sphere. So now we are in the tenant in our space and we will import our query into the space. So here on the right side, we have an option to import entities. So let me switch to the space first. And of course, we will just say import entities. And now we will choose our connection type as BW bridge. We've already started from the target space. We can jump over it. Next step is the connection. And of course, the connection is also provided from SAP side. So we don't have to do anything here. Just select the connection and next step. You are able to search now exactly the query which needs to be imported into the DataSphere tenant. So we would like to enter the name of the query. So this is the query. You can see ZPMPS sales 02. We can start search. And you can see, I think I to search. Yeah, this is underscore 02 dash query. That's the one. We can mark it and proceed next. And this is where exactly get overview of business builder and data builder artifacts on the next step, which will be created in our DataSphere tenant. So these are all the things which your system will be creating from your bridge into the DataSphere. So we are creating total 12 data builder artifacts. So exactly all the dimensions for info objects. And of course, on top of that, creating the business builder artifact, including the time artifacts. So we'll import and also creating the business builder artifact. So after the import, few seconds later, we will get a message and import was successful. So I have already imported and you can see these are the artifacts which got created. The relevant views and dimension on top of info object. We jump start to the business builder, for example, and you can see consumption model created with a perspective on top of it. So if I go to the business builder layer, based on my query, system created a consumption sales reporting without currency. You can see here. And this is exactly reflecting our query. So a query, somebody asked me a few minutes ago, what is the query reflects? So it reflects into a consumption model with a perspective. So exactly same measures and attributes. Those are the ones which you saw and my free characteristics. And now we can start using the perspective or consumption for the reporting purpose in our dashboard. So this is how exactly everything gets imported. And you know the process after this. You can just start consuming this particular business artifact, which is a consumption model and this perspective in SAP Analytics Cloud. Yes. So last but not the least, let's look at the modeling approach and how modern modeling approach with BW Bridge and DataSphere can look. How the layers shifted from the regular BW world. So what are the different artifacts which gets created in this case? So towards DataSphere, what gets created? So in BW, normally every customer follow the regular LSA++ architecture. So the data was brought into BW into the field-based inbound layer. And on top of that, there was a propagation layer, harmonization layer defined with the info object mapping. When certain business requirement in propagation layer could not be met, data was loaded into the architected data mart layer. In virtual data mart layer persisted, as well as virtual data model were brought together. With BW Bridge and DataSphere, the architected data mart layer as well as the virtual data mart layer are shifted towards DataSphere, where remote table is created inside the BW Bridge space. On top of that, the metadata import for BW Bridge is creating data builder as well as business builder artifact. The new analytical dataset inside the data builder is the one which needs to be filtered out with relevant reporting data and replicated data into DataSphere via view persistency. This concludes our unit for BW Bridge. So at least you got a basic idea of how BW Bridge works. All the configuration and everything, it's a very tedious task. It took us like 15 to 20 days in our company to read all the documentation, get involved with multiple colleagues from BW side. I constructed a small team in my company, which included 2 BW for HANA experts, one basis, one network, one IT expert, and of course myself. And then was one junior DataSphere consultant. So that was a small scrum team which we created in our company and ran this for about a month or so to get some of the artifacts from an old BW system replicated to BW Bridge, and then use the BW Bridge as a preferred data federation system to connect to DataSphere and fetch and replicate all the objects. So this is the final go-to architecture. If you decommission the BW system, everything gets moved to eventually DataSphere and BW Bridge. So that is it from my side on this demo on BW Bridge. At least you would have got some idea. I'm very sorry that I don't have infrastructure to demonstrate that, because it requires a lot of complex infrastructure to be set up first to be able to do it in a live system. But at least you have an idea of how the BW Bridge look like and how the replications will happen for different artifacts from your existing BW system, and eventually what it leads up to into the data sphere with the different layers. Once again, thank you so much for joining this training session with me. I hope to see you further in my more training, and I wish you very best of luck for your future endeavors in the DataSphere topic. So I'm done with this batch and this training session today. Now it's time for your questions. If you do have some, please feel free to ask.
Anubhav, you showed us that in the data eclipse, the virtual components are the data providers which were replicated. So I didn't get that part. So the data sphere where we searched the query and all the components were replicated, that was fine. Do we need to do that again in the eclipse? All the
So
again system replication?
Eclipse only connects to BW Bridge, and Eclipse only connects to the data, the BW system. Eclipse never connect to DataSphere. So what happened is, when we ran the shell conversion, all the objects from BW from HANA system, they got created in the BW Bridge.
So that is in the Eclipse where another copy of the BW is created. And when we search that in the query, the technical name, so that copy is shown in DataSphere, is it?
Yes. So you still have to run the model copy to the DataSphere, and then only you will find that query in DataSphere as a
So
consumption.
directly we can't search with the query technical name
Direct, no.
after the connection. We can't.
Like last class we
Is it?
search CDS view directly, that we cannot do. You have to run a model copy from the
Okay.
BW Bridge to DataSphere.
That will be done in the Eclipse.
Yes, you
Okay.
can clearly see the diagram. Entity import is carried out between BW Bridge and DataSphere to get your query replicated to the DataSphere as a consumption model.
Yeah. And we still have the geo. I mean, this is different topic. I mean, that geo stationary. So that you still have that bug, is it? Like we
Yes, that
can't
bug is still
see.
there. In fact, two email I've received from some of you who are part of this training, they are still facing the same issue. Yes, it is a bug. So I don't know when will they resolve it. Maybe one of you can
You don't
quickly.
have any demo on how do we create geostationary points in DataSphere? Like any screenshot or a demo or
I think on Google you can find some.
So I'm not able to connect to SCSC from guided experience.
Okay, you can share your screen, sir. We can have a look at it
Yes,
together.
please. Yes, please.
Anu, anything on planning integration is there a part of this training?
No, sir. No. That you can join our SSC training. There we have done the planning already. Because
Already
DataSphere
okay.
is
So I
like a
think
PW
here,
system.
okay. So, but still we can do a planning related scenarios in DataSphere, right?
You can store the data here, like your plan data, your planned version data over here. Yeah, that you can store it. Yeah. Okay, sir,
Sir, can
please
you see
open.
my screen?
I can see your screen. Please
Can,
open one more tab and show me the analytics cloud in the another tab first.
ah,
So here only you, no,
this
no,
is
no, not, no, 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 not the another tab, sir. In the same window, open another tab
ah,
and here you launch the analytics cloud. Sir, not
yeah, it
another
is
window,
already
sir. Please listen to me, sir. Please listen to me.
ah,
Open one more tab, sir. One more tab. There is a plus button. Yes. Now open your analytics cloud here first.
what?
This is not analytic cloud. This is DataSphere.
This.
Okay, I think you have to do other way around. Go back to DataSphere. Copy the DataSphere URL
That is already done. This one.
and run the
This is the
DataSphere in
URL.
another tab. So there has to be one browser window with two tabs. One tab should have DataSphere and one tab should have Analytic Cloud.
Yeah, both are the window.
Both are in
As you
separate
said,
tab.
this is
Separate window is there. They
yeah
need to be in same window.
same. Okay. Okay. This is data sphere.
Okay. And
Yes,
open the
yes.
Analytic Cloud here. Yes. Very good. Now this is also DataSphere only. You see the URL DataSphere? You have to
Just
open the Analytic Cloud in same window.
yeah. Just,
Anu, sorry. Meanwhile, um, so on the HANA Cloud part, which is I think you have a separate course from Anubhav's training, and I have still worked with XXC Classic only, not on the XX Advanced related. So you want me to take the SXA training or directly go to the BTP on HANA Cloud where you cover SXA containers, HA containers, so on?
Mhm. You can go with directly BTP on HANA Cloud training, where we covered the HANA XSA development with Node.js on the BTP HANA Cloud environment. If your goal is HANA Cloud ultimately, you should use BTP on HANA Cloud training.
Okay. So
I'm
there
getting.
in that particular batch, you also have something covered on data lake part.
No, sir. Data Lake at the moment, I'm not expertised on Data Lake. So we have not covered any of the training right now, any Data Lake at all.
Sir, I'm ready.
Okay, very good, sir. Now you can open the, yes, connection. Click on plus. Very good. You are very smart. Copy that.
Afka students.
Thank you. Just give the host name 443.
This slash I need to remove.
Yes. You need to also go
Username.
back on the top in the name. You need to give your Name,
Yeah.
you need to give the name of your data sphere.
One second. Okay.
It is G5718. Yes, that you need to give. Capital letter.
G 5 1 7 1 8.
And give same as
Session
description.
connect.
Yeah, very good. Click on OK. Should not take this much time, ideally. Should immediately work.
This is URL correct, sir?
I think it's correct only, but let's see.
Port is 443, right?
443 always, yes. That's a HTTPS
Yeah.
port standard. Refresh your screen once and try again. It got stuck. These experience accounts, sometimes they have issues. See if the entry may be already added. You may find that entry already. GE171818. Yeah, GE1718. GE51718. No, not there. Okay, never mind. Click on add button. Again, try to add. The point was that it has to open in the same window. Then only the SSO will work between experience accounts.
G51718.
So Anubhav, we can't literally practice any of we, even if we take your server connection, we can't replicate this BW with the SAP DataSphere, right?
Yeah, because BW
Like the
Bridge is a
BW
separate
bridge.
offering. You need a real SAP system with your company.
Right. Because the guided experience is not allowing. So
Yes.
even if
Sir,
we have
please
a
put
demo connection,
HTTPS before the URL. Put HTTPS in the guided experience URL host name. Put HTTPS
Oh,
colon dot dot.
okay.
In fact, what I recommend, sir, go back to the first tab. Go back to the first
Sir.
tab. Copy the URL from there. Yeah. Yes. Very good. Copy that, and then that you have to put. It will automatically come with HTTPS. Yes. It will come with HTTPS. No, you no. Again, I think you're going wrong. It was there only in the another tab. In both the tabs, you have one system and another system open together side by side. Yes. Keep the slash, no problem. Okay, it's okay. We can click OK. What is the issue? Could not connect a possible call. Third party cookie blocked. Course issue.
That I completely checked that party cookie and all is something internal SAP problem. Right? Nobody is able to create. I think I asked several people about this. I spoke to
yeah,
15 to
even
20
I got
persons.
the same error. I tried in same browser with the same, I double checked all the capitalization, everything, and I got the same error.
I tried to contact that SAC team from here, but nobody has responded. Actually, I am ex SAP employee. I contact the product team. Nobody's answering properly.
No problem, sir.
This
Uh,
exists for past 1 month, I believe.
we will try one more thing. Don't worry, it's okay. Just close this window. We'll try one more thing. Yeah. Now you are in DataSphere. Click on the top right corner. There is a tile icon next to your user icon. From there, yeah, click there and click on Analytics.
Sir,
And
why they are
open.
not offering free tires, sir? They are giving only on this.
Yeah, yeah.
They are offering
Now you
only this
log
guided
in.
experience.
No, sir, please
Yeah.
allow me to talk. Just no, sir. Go back, sir. Go back. In the now it has navigated from there to there. Yeah. So open one more tab there only. Open one more tab and paste the URL which is already in your clipboard. Just paste. Your DataSphere URL will come. Yeah. Press enter. So this is your DataSphere from where we jumped. Now go back to the first tab and log in to Analytics Cloud.
Sir, why they are not offering free tire data sphere in that sandbox?
That you have to check with them only, sir. I am not SAP. So now you try to create connection again.
Yeah. Earlier they are offering, sir. Now they remove the data sphere component
Mhm.
from.
Okay. Maybe the cost has gone too much up for them because these are cloud servers. So everybody like went ahead and they try to create a free tier. So what happened is overall their cost have gone lot of up. That's why they may have stopped. But at least 90% of the course we can practice with this experience account, right? Only 5-10% is what we cannot. That's okay. That is still fine. At least I have hands-on experience with the DataSphere.
Hi Anubhav, this is Ram Babu.
Yeah, hi.
Did you get charged for a data tier account from SAP?
No, it's been 7 days. I opened a ticket last evening, ultimately.
Okay, because I'm trying to create a,
Free tire
data
account.
tier account.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because I'm thinking whether they are going to charge unnecessarily if we use some other any options unknownly.
They will charge for sure.
That's what.
So it is better if you
Yeah,
are
that's
not
what.
sure, don't create.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's what I'm checking with you if they already charged with you or
They charge
something.
me just like 2000 INR so far, but I don't know what is the
Oh,
minimum
okay.
monthly fees they will take from me. But for sure, they will take some minimum monthly fees also. I am planning to decommission
Oh,
that.
okay. Yeah, and one more thing, what is the demand right now as a BW consultant? What can you suggest to learn apart from this SAC BW for HANA? Do you suggest to go for native HANA or S4 HANA do we need to have?
S4HANA training is better because there you learn CDS
Mhm.
views. So CDS views are very
Okay.
important these days for building the data analytics.
But we need to have a ABAP skill for that, right?
Yes, sir. Like
Yeah.
10%, 20% initial course you need. CDS view is different from ABAP. It doesn't require ABAP
Oh,
skill to learn CDS view.
oh, is it easy or any complex because
It's easy.
we are
If you
not.
love coding, it's very easy.
How about a native enterprise HANA, Anubhav? That's the reason I asked earlier, are you going to cover ABAP on HANA, both enterprise HANA as well as CDS views?
So there are native HANA doesn't have too much scope as compared to ABAP on HANA, where we cover CDS views.
Oh, okay.
Anubhav, sorry, yeah, please continue. Anubhav. Yeah.
So do you think both are required in our case, as well as native HANA as well as S4 HANA?
Only S4HANA will be required. That same course is called ABAP on HANA training. Already there is a batch started. You just missed 2 classes. You
Okay.
can just contact my team today that you want to join SAP ABAP on HANA training, which is happening weekends, evening 7 to 9 p.m. India time. You can join that if you want.
Yeah, sure. Thank you,
Uh,
Anubhav.
Anubhav, regarding the free tier creation of account, you said like there are many steps that you will share us in the video as a part of complement.
Mhm. Yeah, that video, because they have not yet activated that account for me. It is taking time from their end. So once they give me the account detail and mail na, I will further record that video and append it in the video section only.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And
So
one
allow
more
me some
question on the
time to
replication.
complete that. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
sure. Thanks a lot. So yesterday we have seen the replication flow. Let's say after the replication flow and the table is created in DataSphere, okay, it could be in the form of remote table, right? That remote table, we could use it
It's a
somewhere in the
persisted table, sir.
calculation.
It's not remote table. Persisted table means data will be fetched and loaded in the data sphere.
Okay, so that we can utilize in the data flow or in the graphical view to create certain manipulations later.
Yes, absolutely. You can.
And one question on CDS view, like in CDS view, we have annotations for rows, columns, right? At analytics.query.access, all those
Yes.
kind of annotations that will be directly pointing to rows and columns using RSRT, right? But when you do it in the data sphere, as a remote, maybe as a replication flow, like you showed yesterday, automatically that rows will be converted to attributes and columns will go to measures. It will
No,
automatically happen.
no. Those
Okay.
annotation have no effect when you import data to DataSphere. Those annotation are of no use. They are only useful when you do embedded analytics within S4.
Okay,
Because
like query
DataSphere
related
is not a
stuff.
reporting tool. It is a data storage and BW tool. It will just store the data. But ultimately
Okay.
reporting tool is your analytic cloud. So from DataSphere, then you give it to analytic cloud and build a dashboard according to the need you have by configuring row column there in the analytic cloud.
And CDS view directly in SAC, we can use both for live and acquired connection or only
Yes, we can.
live is post.
Both we can
Okay.
use live and acquired. Join my analytic cloud training where we covered that already.
So even in directly CDS view and SAC also, like in account dimension, you will not see that rows will automatically go as a dimension and columns will not directly go to measures, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Did it work, sir? Your integration?
No.
Go back again. Let's try again. Refresh the page and try to add again.
Guruji, please bless us for a good job in DWC.
You will get it. Don't worry. It's just a matter of time. You need to focus on the skill. Output will naturally come.
Really thanks, Anova, for this wonderful training. Maybe in case
Thank
of
you
any
so much.
doubts, we'll email you.
Yes, sir, for sure.
So these
Some
videos will be there till how long? Like
8 months.
8 months. Okay.
Anubhav, I already purchased SEC and I already completed it. But when you show the SEC currently, I could see a different view. When you create a story, I could see in the left-hand side the widgets are displayed. Like containers, planning actions are not there when I purchased that SEC. Maybe this is a new
It is there,
feature.
sir,
I could think.
because in SSE training we use the classic story modeling, and in DataSphere training we use the new story modeling tool. So please check the SSE videos again. When you create a story,
So I
there are
think,
two options:
uh, yes,
classic story.
classical and new model,
Yes, in
right?
majority of the time in SSE course, there we focus on classic story modeling. But in DataSphere course,
Yeah,
when use, we use the new story modeling. Yeah, that is why you seeing a
okay, okay.
difference. Yes, sir. So experience did
So
not
that
change.
maybe okay, you shared us in that particular batch the new model you have shown us, but story
Yes.
we already know to create. You did not. We went to the
I also
details of
showed
it.
one
So okay,
example
now I
of
got.
new story modeling. Yes, but
Yes, at the
because
last video I could see. Yeah,
yes, sir. That's a difference.
containers. I'm not sure, sir, whether it's already there or container something in the widgets we could see in the left
Then
hand
anyway,
side
you can
when
go
you.
to the official documentation. So see, today there are 10 control. Tomorrow there can be 50. Then next day can be 5,000. So it is impossible for us to cover everything, every minute aspect. Like if you see BAP, BW also, it's very big systems. They're built over years and years of effort. So as a trainer, we cannot show anything. But as a learner, what is my goal? My goal is to understand the system, how system works, and what are the capabilities system offer me. That's my goal, right? As a consultant. So that is what you can focus on. Sir, what you do is it's not working in incognito window. Open a normal window
Okay.
and try with the normal window, sir. Rather
Okay.
than incognito window, try this in a
Ah,
normal window.
okay. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Catch you up. Goodbye.